judge can promise no more than that, and a good judge should guarantee no less.
All right, that was Judge Neil Gorsuch in his opening statement yesterday, pledging judicial independence. But Gorsuch faced Democrats who are still upset over the obstruction of President Obama's nominee, Judge Merrick Garland. Watch this.
Republican senators denied any semblance of due legislative process to our last nominee. One, I would say, even more qualified than you, and that's saying something.
All right, joining us now is that member of the Senate Judiciary Committee, Democratic Senator Sheldon Whitehouse. He's also the ranking member of the Judiciary Subcommittee investigating Russia's interference in the 2016 election. Good morning, Senator.
Good morning.
Okay, so you didn't pull any punches there in addressing Gorsuch. What is your beef with him? Is it about him personally, or is it that turnabout is fair play and you don't like how the Republicans treated Garland?
Neither of those things. Our problem is that when the Republicans have 5 appointees on the Supreme Court, they develop a really appalling track record of incredibly partisan decisions. As I brought out in my questioning yesterday, there are 5-4 decisions on elections law, and all 6 of them, 6-0, go in favor of Republican interests at the polls in ways that would be very predictable to the court. And when you look at the cases that pit a corporation against a human being, the 5-4 decisions go 16-0 against the human being and for the corporation. And we're now at a stage where a majority of Americans don't think a human being can get a fair shake in front of that court if their opponent is a corporation.
Okay.
So the real question for this hearing is he going to saddle up with them and recreate the Gang of Five and keep going on with this highly partisan behavior?
Okay, but I mean, in that case, if it's all about the math for you and you don't like the 5-4 situation, you're not going to ever approve any of President Trump's nominees.
No, it means it puts the burden on him to convince us that he's not going to ride along with that posse and that he will actually stand as an independent judge and make the kind of decisions that he said he would make in his testimony yesterday. But we have to pay attention to a 16-0 record from the court in 5-4 decisions pitting corporations against humans, and he has to be evaluated in that light.
Okay, so what did you think of yesterday? Were you convinced by his claims of independence?
There's a lot of what I would call nomination etiquette that needs to take place, and all these candidates are very, very carefully groomed. A lot of this stuff is kind of highly polished preparation. So a lot more will show when he has to actually answer questions. A, is he willing to give meaningful answers to questions? And B, how does he do? That, I think, will be a stronger test. But I've got nothing against a judge who is a judicial conservative. I just don't think that the Supreme Court should be politically controlled by big corporations in the Republican Party, and they shouldn't run up 6-0 and 16-0 records when their interests are at stake. It's just not right. That's just not being a court.
Okay, let's talk about James Comey's testimony yesterday, in which he publicly confirmed that, yes, there is an ongoing investigation into Russia's meddling into the U.S. election and whether or not there was any collusion with anyone on the Trump campaign. Were you satisfied with his answers? I know you had previously said publicly that you weren't getting enough out of the FBI or Director Comey. What did you think about yesterday?
Yeah, we've been asking that question for a long time, and for the life of me, I can't understand why that was a hard question to answer. For as long as there have been bank robberies, the FBI has been showing up after the bank robbery to say, we're on the case. And here you had the equivalent of an election robbery, and it would be easy for them to say, hey, we're on the case. Finally, he did so, which I think is the right thing to do. And now we'll just go forward with our hearings under Chairman Graham, and we'll continue to try to get to the bottom of what took place.
But Senator, I mean, you heard Director Comey. He says that there's actually a long-standing tradition of not confirming when there's an active investigation what the FBI is doing. I mean,
that's only in the context of international investigations and undercover investigations. But when there's a crime that everybody knows about, or an act that could be a crime that everybody knows about, for the police chief to come in and say, hey, we're looking into this, we're on the case, here are the people I've got assigned, don't worry, we'll try hard to get to the bottom of this, that's standard law enforcement procedure.
But isn't this an international investigation with Russia's meddling?
It's also a very open investigation into a potential crime. And the intelligence folks are the ones who actually told the American people that this had taken place. So to say that this has taken place and then to say, and we're looking into it, is no big deal.
Senator Sheldon Whitehouse, thank you very much for being on New Day.
Thanks, Allison.
Chris.
All right, so the FBI director revealing Russia's election meddling was, quote, unusually loud and obvious. Former intel officials from the CIA and KGB with their take on James Comey's testimony next.